This is my answer to question 5 of the evaluation task, and that question is, what have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product? Enjoy the video. The first piece of technology I learnt to use when making my final piece was Celtx. I was previously unaware that any proper script writing software was actually available to correctly format it, so it was a bit weird at first because I was used to just using Word for any sort of document. But after getting used to it, I seemed to be able to produce a script pretty well. Also, when trying to originally edit my video, I used Final Cut Pro. I didn't end up using this in the final piece, but I started making drafts on it, trying out different things, and I basically learned how to do basic editing on that. I decided not to do it because it's mainly Mac based and I prefer the Windows operating system, so I thought it'd be easier if I were to use Windows because I'd be more used to it and comfortable with actually editing things within Windows instead of the OS software. Also, within actually creating it, doing all the coursework and stuff, I learnt to use WordPress, the blogging site. I'd never actually known what a blog was before because it's not something I'd actually looked into, it's not something I'd do, as Facebook was the extent of my social media interactions, I guess. But it proved very useful because I could get resources and share resources. I could put it up there and then get feedback and then be like, okay, where am I going from here? So I guess I use WordPress well because I decided to play around with all the settings. Before actually starting the media course, I hadn't used a Mac. Starting to use a Mac and trying to edit a video was a bit difficult because I was unaware of the autosave features of Macs and the fact that when you close a window it doesn't actually close, it stays open. But I guess I got used to it eventually, but Windows was ultimately my main specialty area, so I decided to veer away from the OS software. But all in all, I did learn quite a lot about the OS software, trying it out and doing things, but I wasn't too keen in the end. But I did get some key things from it, such as all the right clicking or the shortcuts you can take, screenshots and all that. Throughout the making of the project, I've been using Audacity to try and, well, just bring more audio, trying to improve the audio. I hadn't got any successful bits of audio take through it, but I played around with it, see if I could make it better, see if I could do voiceover for my media piece. And although it didn't come out successful, I am now using Audacity to do the evaluation, obviously, and I found it a very useful piece of software, and I wouldn't have previously used it if it hadn't been for the media and the experimentation I need to do within. To film my media, I could have used one of the school's cameras and gone that way, but I decided that it'd be best if I had my own camera so I could learn, get used to it, get a feel. So I bought one, went out, decided to do some test videos, got some YouTube videos from it. So I got a feel for my new Samsung smart camera. With all these media features I was unaware of, being able to post straight to YouTube from the camera. Obviously this is no good for the media, but I learned a lot of camera work, and you don't need a big fancy camera to film a big indie media piece. I mean, you can just go out with a regular little compact camera. Okay, I bought an expensive 1080p, fully fledged smart camera, but you can do it with you could film it with your phone. But I did get used to using my camera, got comfortable with it, got a tripod, used that, and I feel that it didn't produce bad quality videos. Okay, occasionally you get the odd misfocusing of the camera because of the way it's set up. One of the things I use that I wouldn't usually use is Vimeo, because to be fair, it's not the most popular of sites that I'd usually think about posting to. I mean, I'd done an occasional YouTube video, and that had obviously gone on YouTube, because that is the general community that I think that most people associate videos, online videos with. But using Vimeo, I learned that I can post to another site, a more secure site, perhaps, than YouTube. But in the end I decided that my video should be on YouTube, because it's the platform I'm most comfortable with, and I've put my final piece up there. I don't know whether this is correct, whether this isn't, but I've got it up on YouTube, so it's watchable for more people, it's more accessible. The final piece of software I got really comfortable with during the making of my final piece is Sony Vegas Studio HD Platinum 10.0. I hadn't used it before I actually started, and I started getting used to Final Cut before I started using Sony Vegas, but my friend said, hey, check this out, it's a piece of editing software for Windows. Yes, it's not as good as Final Cut, but here you go, have a play with it. It's not as smooth, but see if you get on with it. And honestly, I get on with it better than I did Final Cut, because I'm a techie guy. I like my different programs, I like working out what's going on, and I found it pretty smooth to use. The text editing was a bit iffy, so I was like, but I managed to get some decent effects, I think. But the actual merging of the video is pretty smooth. So yeah, this was my answer to question 5 about the technologies I've learned to use throughout the period of constructing the product. I hope it was accurate and informative enough.